Buenos días, queridas. Hoy damos inicio a la lectura en inglés del libro La Presencia Mágica, capítulo 8, El Poder Conquistador. Nos vamos centrando en la respiración, inhalando por la nariz, reteniendo y exhalando por la nariz lentamente. Vamos ubicándonos en una posición cómoda. Encendemos nuestro tubo de luz, nuestro cinturón electrónico y comenzamos a reconocer y a sentir intensamente la conexión entre nuestra forma exterior y nuestra poderosa presencia I Am, centrando toda la atención en nuestro corazón, visualizándolo como un gran sol oro. Yo acepto ahora alegremente la plenitud de la presencia divina, el puro Cristo. Sienta la gran claridad de la luz y su intensidad en cada electrón de nuestro cuerpo. I am, yo soy una hija de la luz, yo amo la luz, yo sirvo a la luz, yo vivo en la luz. I am, yo soy protegida, clarificada, colmada, sostenida por la luz y yo bendigo a la luz. Gracias, está cumplido.
Chapter 8 The Conquering Power. Our return with the Livingstons to Washington, D.C. was followed by many weeks of pleasant study, while receiving the great wisdom of our beloved Saint Germain. We were very busy during this time, and days sped by on wings, for during our contemplation of the light and the ascended masters we transcended all sense of time. After all, only as human events call our attention to it are we ever aware of time. We had arrived in Washington on the 2nd of October, and the Christmas season was now approaching. For some reason, Rayborn said to me one morning, Saint Germain wants the children to come here earlier than was originally planned. Let us wire them to be here by the 21st of December. He said arrangements had been made to have them excused a few days earlier. He did not say why he wanted them, so I did not presume to inquire. We sent the wire, and late in the afternoon of the 21st they all arrived. Bob's train came in half an hour ahead of the others. We all went to the hotel where Nod and Pearl were given the suite of rooms Saint Germain had engaged. During the evening, with a twinkle in his eyes, Saint Germain asked the four of them to sing a certain group of songs. I sent for those songs and have been practicing them for 3 weeks, Bob announced. So have we, chorused the other three. Why should we all have chosen the same songs? That is very good, Saint Germain, smiling knowingly. And then he revealed his surprise. We've been planning to attend a concert on Christmas Eve, he began. 2 of the soloists will be indisposed. I know the man in charge of the entertainment, and at the opportune moment I shall offer to supply the artists to take their places. Bob looked at him in positive fright. I've never appeared in public in my life, he said. I should be scared to death. Bob, do you not have confidence in me? Said Saint Germain, as he stepped up to Bob and put his hands on his shoulders. Of course, I have all the confidence in the world, he answered, as his eyes filled with tears. Then leave it to me, Saint Germain replied. All fear will be gone when you awaken in the morning. Be at peace. The next morning at 10 o'clock, a telephone call came from his friend in charge of the concert, who was in great distress because 2 of his soloists had been taken ill and were unable to appear. Be at peace, I think I can help you out, Saint Germain replied. I can send you a quartet. Two of whom are splendid soloists. The manager knew that he understood what was needed, but did not know he was an ascended master. However, he accepted the proffered assistance without question. He made the announcement that a quartet would appear in place of the soloists. Christmas Eve came, and the great auditorium was packed to capacity. As the curtain rose, there were exclamations of appreciation here and there in the audience, as a gorgeous fairyland scene was revealed before them. Saint Germain kept in touch with the manager at intervals, and all felt a curious state of expectancy, feeling that something unusual was about to take place. The feeling grew stronger as time passed. The other artists sang, and then came a sort of hush. A second curtain lifted, revealing a marvelous setting of Bethlehem in the background, with a brilliant star shedding its wonderful radiation over the entire scene. Just at this point, an airplane in the shape of a great white bird floated down and landed mid-stage. Out stepped the quartet in beautiful Arabic costumes. They first sang Holy Night, and the audience compelled them to repeat it. Then Nada sang a solo, Light of Life, We Look to Thee. The enthusiasm of the audience continued to increase as they showered applause upon her. The quartet sang the next number, Master Jesus, We Follow Thee. The fourth number was Rex's solo, In the Light, I Rest Secure. Handkerchiefs were waved, and some rose in the audience, calling for him to repeat it. The quartet sang again, and then the manager stepped to the front of the stage and announced his surprise for the closing number. Allow me to present our guest artist of the evening, he said, singing I Come on the Wings of Light. Prima donna Nada. We all gasped with surprise as the mother of Nada and Rex entered, wearing a gown glittering with jewels. Her own beauty far transcended that of the gown she wore. The applause and greeting from the audience was tremendous. She raised her hand for silence. The audience responded instantly, and she began. She sang with tremendous power and glory, as her radiation was released to flood out over the audience and the city of Washington in blessing. From there it has spread like a mantle of peace and comfort over America and the earth. At the close of her song, the audience was gripped in silence a few seconds, and then burst forth showering their deep appreciation and joy in loving gratitude upon her. They called for her again and again. After she had sung it for the third time, she raised her hand for silence and spoke to them. Your joy and gratitude is so sweet, so sincere, that I shall sing for you something I love, which expresses my feeling for you. It is called I Love You. In this, her voice took on a beauty and power that acted like magic. She sang as only an ascended master can sing. And it was no wonder the audience, in its enthusiasm and appreciation, tried to call her back again and again. However, at a signal from Saint Germain, the final curtain was lowered. We rushed to the wings, and such a greeting and reunion followed that no words can describe. Rayborn was almost overcome by his joy. Come quickly, said Saint Germain, as he threw a velvet indigo cape about Nada's mother, and we stepped into the auto, driving away rapidly. It was not a moment too soon, for the audience was rushing to the stage entrance. We arrived at the hotel and went directly to the master suite. In a few moments, reporters besieged the place, wanting to know who the singer was. Saint Germain stepped to the door and greeted them. Prima donna Nada, he said, is the wife of a Western mining man, Daniel Rayborn, and the two soloists of the quartet are her son and daughter. That is all. And he dismissed them. After such loyal, splendid service from each of you, he explained, closing the door behind him, I thought you were all entitled to this happy surprise. He congratulated the quartet, and smiling quizzically at Bob, remarked, You see, your trust did not go unrewarded. You know, replied Bob, I never thought of stage fright. We all gathered around the mother of Nada and Rex and asked her to tell us something of her work and where she had been. I will tell you briefly what I can, for I must leave you at 2 o'clock, but I will come tomorrow night for a visit from 8 to 12. The sphere in which I dwell might be called a stratum, for there are several strata which enfold the earth, holding it in their embrace. The place where I am receiving certain training is just as real and tangible as your physical earth, but I serve in the strata below the one in which I am studying. When I thought I was passing through the change called death, I lost all feeling of life for a few moments, and then awakened to find myself surrounded by 12 ascended masters whose light was almost blinding in its dazzling radiance. Among them was our beloved Saint Germain, who had instructed me for several years previously. As soon as I became clearly conscious of the ascended masters, I was shown how I could be assisted and how I could assist myself in raising the atomic structure of my physical body then and there into the pure electronic body, the seamless garment, which remains forever pure and perfect. As the process of raising gradually took place, I became more and more aware of blazing light filling my entire body, and I felt the most marvelous radiant energy surge in and through me, sweeping away every vestige of resistance and imperfection, and quickening my consciousness. I became more and more aware of my mighty I Am presence, until finally it stood before me visible, tangible, and very real. Steadily and powerfully I felt my physical body drawn into and enveloped by my glorious God-self, and when I stepped out of the cemetery, I could scarcely realize how transcendent I had become. The old human limited activities of my consciousness were raised into that alert sense of freedom and unlimited use of wisdom and power. I was shown very clearly, now I was aware of this greater activity, that I must put it to use. Then came a still fuller sense of the freedom, beauty, joy, and service that I must render to those who still remained unascended. My first desire was that I might know more of these ascended masters who had so lovingly ministered to me. Instantly, one after another stood before me, and without a word being spoken, conveyed their names and thoughts to me. With this marvelous thought language, there came certain attendant pictures in color and the true interpretation of them. This communion by thought was just as clear as human beings now use by the spoken word. In fact, much clearer, for there can be no mistake when thought contacts thought. Misunderstandings come about through the use of words, for after all, they are but receptacles to convey thought and feeling. When thoughts and feelings are not limited by words, many imperfections and much resistance disappear entirely. At one time, during a former golden age, mankind still had the full use of this inner communion by thought, but as the personalities looked away from the light, the substance of their bodies became denser, until it reached the condition of the physical atom of which the human body is composed today. This substance vibrates at too slow a rate for thought to pass through. Hence, words or sounds which could register in this lower rate had to be used as a means of communication. Even today, the individual could again draw forth this same perfect way of communication by releasing a ray of gold and white light from within his own magic I Am presence by conscious command, visualizing its passing through the brain structure from the electronic body. This wave of greater light would increase the vibratory rate of the atoms of the physical body to the point where thought would register and be comprehended without the spoken word. Thought waves are always being catapulted, as it were, upon the flesh of the body, both from within the individual's own consciousness and from the thoughts of others. But how many people comprehend that fact enough to read the thought whose impact is felt? Mental telepathy is a slight part of this activity, but how many people can interpret the thoughts received and know from whence they come? It was weeks before I ceased to marvel at this wonderful threefold means of inner communication through the sight, the thought, and the feeling. The glorious freedom of the Ascended Master is so marvelous that we long for every human being to understand and enjoy that same great happiness. This is the final crowning glory of all human activity, the ideal and reward for which all human experience is sought and endured. If mankind could but understand and look toward this true ideal of life, the self-created chains and limitations that have bound the race for hundreds of thousands of years would drop away in less than a century. It is the determination of the Ascended Masters that the light which is the ancient wisdom shall flood the earth and its inhabitants now, and whatever cannot stand the radiance of that light must disappear as mist before the morning sun. The law of life of the whole universe is the law of light, and before its blazing glory and invincible power, all discord and chaos are consumed. My first experiences that seemed to me so marvelous proved to be but fragmentary compared with what has been revealed since my ascension into this far greater and more wonderful activity of life. Please keep this fact clearly in mind, that in the ascended state, each revelation of more expanded activity always contains the attendant wisdom and power for its right use. This is a never-ending joy and wonder to the sons and daughters of the light. After I had become somewhat adjusted to the new condition, Saint Germain took me to the place for which I was best fitted, where I assimilated the new experiences for a short time. After this, I was given the benefit of illustrated instruction. Then I began to enter into my real activity, my true service. One of the ever-increasing joys of the ascended state is that as we study any particular condition, it is always accompanied by illustrations of the exact activity we are to use, and there can never be any mistake, for the end is seen in the beginning. However, this remarkable means of illustrated instruction does not occur below a certain state of consciousness, which can only be known as it is attained. It is a definite, positive feeling and knowing. You, beloved ones, do not realize how fortunate you are in having the blessing of the wonderful atomic accelerator, one marvelous result of the love and work of our blessed Saint Germain. Great has been his love, his service, and the gift of himself to humanity. The beauty and rapid progress of each of you is due to your sincere and intense gratitude. It is the certain pathway to great heights of attainment, and the easiest method by which to achieve every good thing. Gratitude to life for all life pours out to you is the wide open door to every blessing in the universe. It is because humanity has forgotten to be grateful to life for all the blessings upon this earth that it has shut the door to peace and become bound by the chains of its own selfishness. The mass of mankind seek the possession and holding of things, which is an inversion of the law of life. Life forever says to the individual, expand, and ever let me pour greater and greater perfection through you. The law of life is to give, for only by giving of oneself can one expand. To give the intense love of your own mighty I Am presence unto all mankind, to all life, is the mightiest activity we can use to draw the human into the divine. In this divine love is contained every good thing. There have been thousands of platitudes written about divine love, but only when the individual knows divine love is something more than an abstract principle does he realize that he can generate it at will and direct it consciously to accomplish whatever he decrees. The Ascended Master knows divine love as a presence, an intelligence, a principle, a light, a power, an activity, and a substance. Therein lies a secret to their supreme authority and power, for there's nothing to obstruct the approach of divine love anywhere in the universe. When the student understands how to draw forth the flame of divine love from within his own mighty I Am Presence at his own decree, he knows it is but a very short time until his constant use of it raises him into the ascension. Only enough love can accomplish that for anyone, but it must be first projected forth before it can release the blessings within its heart unto the sender. Divine love, being the eternal, is the unquenchable, invincible, unconquerable presence of the I Am, and therefore master of all. All the joys and pleasures of the outer world are as but dust, compared to the limitless, ever-increasing wonders of creation in cosmic space, which the Ascended Master may observe and enjoy consciously and at will. One of the tremendous blessings of the ascended state is the entire absence of any criticism or condemnation of human frailties or mistakes. If the student of light will train himself to forget everything that is useless or that is in any way undesirable, he will not only make rapid progress, but it is imperative if he is to free himself from human limitation. For the student to drag after him unpleasant memories is but one of the many ways by which he creates over and over again the same experiences of misery from which he is really seeking to be free. The light does not receive inharmony into itself. As the student enters the light, he becomes all light, hence all perfection. To have inharmony drop away from the body or affairs, the personality must let go of all thought, feeling, and words about imperfection. An activity that will always bring complete freedom is for the student to pour out unconditional and eternal forgiveness to everybody and everything. This does what nothing else can do to free everyone, as well as the person who sends it out. When forgiveness is sincere, the individual will find his world reordered as if by magic and filled with every good thing. But remember that unless a discord is forgotten, it is not forgiven, because you cannot loose it or release yourself from it until it is out of your consciousness. So long as you remember an injustice or a disturbed feeling, you have not forgiven either the person or the condition. When the forgiveness is complete, the feeling, nature, or emotional body is serene, kind, happy, comfortable, and like a mountain of light. It is so powerful that one abides within it as impregnable as in a fortress. Even though he stand amidst the wreck of worlds, yet will he remain untouched by anything but perfection in the light. Remember, what your consciousness is held firmly upon, you bring into existence in yourself. It is impossible for your life to contain anything that is not your present or past accumulation of consciousness. Whatever you are conscious of in thought and feeling stamps itself upon the universal substance in and around you and brings forth after its kind, always. This is a mighty cosmic law from which there is no variation or escape. Truly, it is the very greatest joy to be with those you love, So tonight, my joy is great indeed. The time is near at hand when you will understand that all human relationship is but a creation of the physical world. In the ascended state, all are truly brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of the Most High living God. In that phase of life, the true meaning of friendship is understood and lived, and when rightly understood, it is the most beautiful relationship in the universe. Now I must leave you until tomorrow night at 8, for I have work to do. Hold yourself steady within the mighty glow of the cosmic light, the mighty I Am presence of the universe, that your pathway may be illumined by its wondrous radiance. As she spoke the last few words, her body grew gradually dim until it completely disappeared. Beloved students, said Saint Germain, smiling lovingly, tonight I have shown you the higher ideal of entertainment. It is not only very enjoyable but tremendously uplifting because of the magic presence whose limitless power it releases. You see, when the proper channel is opened, there is no limit to the blessings an audience may receive wherever the condition is made possible. You have realized that with sufficient understanding it is possible to cause your body to respond instantly to the higher and unlimited use of the I Am presence within you. Your body is the instrument upon and through which you can let the mighty I Am presence play its great song of life, knowing no limitation or defeat in anything. Or you can let the thoughts and feelings of limitation and discord sent out by other personalities play upon it and reap accordingly. Your body is your radio. Your thought, feeling, and spoken word are the ways by which you can tune into or out of any condition or activity you do or do not want. The only real difference is that your body is capable of being tuned to a very much greater height, inconceivably greater than any radio now in existence. You are the director of your own radio through your consciousness. You have the programs of the universe to choose from. Your world today reveals what you have chosen in the past. If you do not like that program, choose a new and better one from your I Am presence. Our gratitude and love are greater than ever for Saint Germain, and we realize as never before that in the presence and wisdom of ascended masters there truly is heaven on earth. We bade each other good night and went to our rooms. We breakfasted the next morning at 11 and spent the afternoon showing Nada, Pearl, Rex, and Bob many places of interest in Washington. In the raised consciousness we were in during this time, the appreciation and intensity of our enjoyment were keener than usual, and it seemed we saw beauty everywhere. We returned to the hotel at 4 o'clock, as Saint Germain had invited us to dine with him later in the suite of rooms occupied by Nada and Pearl, saying the time had arrived for the instruction of the Livingstons to begin. At 6 o'clock we were ready, the Livingstons had come, and all were awaiting Saint Germain's arrival, when a most delicate bell sounded through the rooms. "Saint Germain is approaching," said Pearl immediately. "Who is he?" asked Zara Livingston. "The wonderful man who healed you," Pearl replied, "and saved your mother from such a terrible fate. If my feeling is correct, you will soon see manifestations of his transcendent wisdom and power, besides what you have already experienced." At this moment, he was announced in the same way as any other guest arriving at the hotel. He greeted us all graciously and then explained, "It is my wish that these good friends, the Livingstons, become accustomed to the higher use of the law of light. We shall now begin by realizing first that everywhere about us is a universal substance which we call cosmic light, and which the Bible refers to as spirit. This is the one pure primal essence, out of which comes all creation. It is the pure life substance of the first cause, God. This is infinite, and we may draw upon it at any time for anything we can ever require. This pure electronic light is the great limitless storehouse of the universe. In it is all perfection, and out of it comes all that is. Now, if you will gather about the table, we shall dine, so you may see, feel, taste, and know this wondrous, omnipresent substance, so often talked about, but so little understood. Saint Germain went to the head of the table, seating Zara, Bob, Nora, and myself on his left, Mrs. Livingston, Arthur, Pearl, and Rex on his right, and asked us to bow our heads in silence before the mighty presence of God in action. Each felt the powerful current of divine energy, liquid light, surge through his mind and body and fill him with a feeling of infinite love and peace. As we raised our heads, a beautiful snow-white rose-patterned cloth covered the table, made of a fabric none of us had ever seen. It most nearly resembled silk with frost upon it, both in quality and appearance. Arthur Livingston turned white with surprise, as the moment before he had seen only the polished top of a walnut table. Now this exquisitely beautiful cloth covered it, with napkins to match at each place. There followed the rapid appearance of an entire service for the meal. The dishes were milk white and made of a substance that was like satin in appearance, but very hard and unbreakable. Upon each individual piece were strange mystic designs embossed in gold. None of us understood them, but they were extremely beautiful. The knives, forks, and spoons were made of a metal that looked like frosted silver, with wonderful carved jade handles. Goblets of jade with beautifully carved stems appeared at the right hand of each guest, filled with a sparkling, crystalline liquid that was the very essence of life, condensed light. "Do not be alarmed," Saint Germain said. "When you drink this liquid, it quickens the vibratory action of your atomic structure tremendously, and if you should feel faint, it will only last a few moments." Then, raising his own goblet, he proposed a toast. "To the peace and illumination of all present and to all mankind." We raised our glasses and drained them. It was with difficulty that we refrained from a gasp of astonishment at the effect of this liquid as the electronic essence charged through our bodies. We felt as if we were being raised from our chairs. A 7-course dinner followed, the empty dishes of each course disappearing as soon as it was finished. The food was most delicious and extremely vitalizing to the body. Our dessert was similar to what we had for dinner at the Cave of Symbols. "You see," said Saint Germain, "as we finished the meal, it is not difficult to produce what you desire direct from the pure universal substance, so long as no element of selfishness enters in. We have dined here tonight on delicious food. It has all come from a supply that is ever at hand. Yet it is but a fragment of what can be produced." He extended his hand, and a disk of gold formed in it, which he passed around for all to examine. He held out his other hand, and a beautiful blue-white diamond formed within it, a truly perfect jewel, so dazzling was its refractive power. He held them both in his closed right hand a few moments, and when he opened it, a beautiful necklace lay within, exquisite in design, with the gorgeous stone as a pendant. He handed it to Zara and said, "Will you accept this as your talisman of light? The stone is not an ordinary one. It is really condensed light. Hence it is a real talisman of the light. It will bless you greatly. Now let us go further. The service which has been used tonight, the ascended host present to Nada and Bob." As he spoke these words, the service began to reappear on the table until all was complete. Suddenly a goblet fell to the floor, and when it was replaced was found to be uninjured in any way. This service, he went on to explain, is unbreakable, as you see. Care for it yourselves always, and may it ever bring you great happiness. Now about this good brother, he continued, indicating Mr. Livingston. He is a very efficient mining engineer. In about 6 months he will be needed in Bob's place at the mine. May I suggest that we take the matter up tomorrow and make the necessary arrangements in detail. It will do his loved ones a world of good to spend 2 years in the West. I suggest they go out to the ranch about the middle of April. Zara will find her twin Ray awaiting her there. When she sees him, she will recognize him instantly. The drawing together of these sets of twin rays is one of the most remarkable things it has ever been my privilege to accomplish. My dear Livingston, as you take up the study of these mighty laws, you will understand everything clearly. What today seems strange and perhaps unreal will become more real than anything else in your life, because there is no doubt within you. That condition makes it possible to give you definite instruction with your permission. Great Master, said Zara, I cannot begin to express my gratitude to you for my healing and for the opportunity to have this instruction. The wonderful manifestation you have shown us tonight has awakened a dim memory within me, as though I had somewhere sometime known about these laws. My dear child, he replied, you have known a great deal about them, and the complete memory of what you have known shall return to you. Then suddenly we became aware of other persons in the room, and a soft, sweet laugh reached our ears. The mother of Nada and Rex stepped in from the adjoining room in marvelously beautiful garments, her very presence radiating peace and blessings to all. She held out her hand to Rayborn. He bowed low and kissed it. She greeted all graciously, and the Livingstons were presented, their admiration being frank and sincere. Saint Germain explained her ascension to them in detail, the training she had been receiving since her ascension, and the service she was constantly giving to humanity. It was the most divinely happy Christmas night I had ever experienced, for it was filled with marvelous radiance and deep instruction. At 12 o'clock, the Mother Nada bade us goodbye until we should all meet again in the Cave of Symbols in July. She and Saint Germain had work to do together, and as they disappeared, his last words were a request to Livingston that he meet with us at 2 o'clock the next day. As soon as they had gone, the Livingstons plied us with questions concerning Saint Germain and his wonderful work. They were the happiest people I have ever seen when they found he was ready to give them instruction. They were so intensely interested that it was 4 o'clock in the morning before we knew it. It was truly the happiest Christmas of our lives. The next day at 1:45, Saint Germain appeared and greeted us as usual. I see you have all entered into the plan beautifully, he remarked, and do you realize how all experiences are truly in divine order? Each person is a link in the great cosmic chain of perfection. I often marvel at the perfection with which the mighty I Am Presence works. In the recent activity, our good brother Gaylord's experience led us to the Livingstons in order to give them protection, and through that we have found another set of twin rays, Zara and the one she is to meet. This will bring the Livingstons and another friend into the everlasting light. Is my plan for this good brother Livingston agreeable to you all? I am more than delighted with the arrangement, as it is a blessing to all concerned, Rayborn replied. Well then, with your cooperation we shall enter into very intensive training during the next 3 months. I am requested to do this by those who are greater than I. We shall leave Washington on the 7th of April for the ranch. Bob, Nada, Pearl, and Rex are to remain here until the 10th of January. They will be able to return to school by the 12th. These glorious days passed all too quickly. Bob accompanied the others as far as the university, and from there went on alone to the mine. The rest of us settled down to intensive training, and one of our greatest joys was to see the enthusiasm with which the Livingstones entered into Saint Germain's instruction. To all of us, he truly is the light of God that never fails. Chapter 9.
Muchas gracias, queridas. Nos vamos centrando en la respiración, inhalando por la nariz, reteniendo y exhalando por la nariz. Lentamente, sintiendo nuestro tubo de luz, nuestro cinturón electrónico. Visualizando y sintiendo nuestro cuerpo envuelto en esta destellante luz blanca. Reconociendo y sintiendo intensamente la conexión entre la forma exterior y nuestra poderosa presencia I Am. Centrando toda nuestra atención en nuestro corazón, visualizándolo como un gran sol oro. Yo acepto ahora alegremente la plenitud de la presencia divina, el puro Cristo. Sienta la gran claridad de la luz y su intensidad en cada electrón de nuestro cuerpo. I am, yo soy una hija de la luz, yo amo la luz, yo sirvo a la luz, yo vivo la luz. I am, yo soy protegida, clarificada, colmada, sostenida por la luz y yo bendigo a la luz. Gracias, está cumplido. Que tengan una hermosa semana.